Hi guys, welcome back, and today I'll be doing the next part for what if Raditz came to get Goku early. And last time we left off seeing how the two Saiyan brothers started living their life on Earth, with the pair now both having families and also working under the Galactic Patrol for money and mostly just for a good fight every now and again. Now let's join our group a short while after we had last seen them. We see the likes of Goku and Gohan training with one another outside. Goku is trying to teach his son how to go Super Saiyan. With the boy showing good progress, the two are soon joined by Chi-Chi. The family have learnt to spend a lot of time training with one another. However, something to note about Chi-Chi is her training has slowed down just a little bit recently. She has discovered that she is pregnant and is trying to hold back a little bit with it. Now, one day while the group is training, a power appears. The group don't take it too seriously at first. That's just Trunks' power. But then they spend a bit more attention to it. There's two sets of Trunks energy, which really confuses them. The group spend a moment trying to figure out what's going on before feeling the power of the other Trunks heading off towards Trunks. This catches them off guard and they head off trying to figure out what's going on. And once they start flying, this new Trunks power eventually turns towards them, with the group soon meeting up with someone who looks like Trunks just a little bit older. Not by loads, maybe a few years, nothing much. With the older Trunks looking at the group, he just sort of smiles and shouts out, "Uncle Goku, it's been too long." With everyone very confused right now, the older Trunks lands on the ground and looks over to his family. He says, "This is going to be pretty confusing, but as you can tell, I'm not your Trunks, you know." "Well, I am, but I'm from the future." With everyone hearing this, they are shocked by this, with the likes of Trunks laughing a bit, while Gohan begins to ask how it's even possible. Gohan is still a book nerd here, and he can pretty much go toe to toe with Trunks here. And Trunks goes on to explain how his mother had been working on a time machine over the last few years, so he could come back and hopefully save the world. With the Sun family hearing this, they ask what he means, with Trunks going on to explain. "In 4 years, on May 12th, two androids will appear. Their power is unmatched, and they easily destroy all of us fighters with ease. The likes of Krillin, Chi-Chi, Tien, Yamcha, Appa, even Dad, all die. And me and you were the only survivors, Gohan. We rushed off to collect the Dragon Balls to try and revive the ones who were killed, but the balls were used by someone, and they became inactive. We've had to figure out a plan. So we hid away with Kami and spent some time trying to contact Jacko, so we could be taken to Namek. After a month of trying, we managed to get hold of him, and the Galactic Patrol officer headed off to Namek and brought back all those killed by the androids, and brought us all to Namek. The next stage of our plan was where we needed to get off and train. Me, Dad, and Gohan all went off, and we headed into the time chamber in space, while the others headed off to Earth to keep an eye on the androids. So me and Dad and you, Gohan, spent 3 months training, which in the time chamber would be a year. We came out a lot stronger than we ever imagined. We went back to Earth with our newfound power, and we defeated the androids, saving the world. With Goku taking this in, he realizes something and asks, "Where was I?" Trunks looks sad, saying, "Uncle, you died before the androids ever showed up. You see, you died to a heart virus which has no cure at the time. So that's why I'm here. I'm trying to save you, and hopefully make it so you live." With Trunks throwing his uncle a small capsule, saying how the cure for his heart virus is in this capsule right in front of him. The heart virus will strike him in a few years, so make sure he's ready for it. With the Sun family hearing this, likes of Goku asks why Trunks is the one to come back. Trunks goes on to explain how Gohan was worried he would get a bit emotional and was worried he might not come back. And Gohan of the present understands this. Having never really been away from his father other than a few missions, he would understand this. And Trunks goes on to explain how his dad was off on a mission when the time machine finished, so he just chose to come. With Goku hearing this, he thanks Trunks for doing so, and the group spend a bit of time talking to one another before Goku asks Trunks to show off his true power, figuring out that he is suppressed. With Trunks agreeing to do so, he jumps up to his max output, jumping up to Super Saiyan. With his seeming very different, Goku notices this and asks what's going on with his Super Saiyan, as Trunks goes on to explain how himself, his father, and Gohan had all mastered it in the time chamber, and now it takes no stamina to use. With Goku surprised to hear this, realizing that this is something he wanted to do and something he's taught the Raditz about, it seems that once he had died, Raditz must have kept trying to do it. With Goku now having an idea of what his goal is and how strong he needs to be, he thanks Trunks. And with this done, Trunks nods his head, throws out his time machine, and starts to climb into the machine. And as he starts to take off, he catches the rest of the Z Fighters landing and showing up, with all of them looking at the weird device as it takes off back into the future. The likes of the Z Fighters look over to the Sun family, and they land near them asking what just happened. With Goku explaining everything, the group realise that it's time that they start training intensely once again. With Raditz and Goku already knowing what they need to do, everyone begins their 4 years worth of training. Now, for the likes of Goku and Raditz, they spend the 4 years trying to achieve two things. The first one is complete mastery over the Super Saiyan form. The second one is to make both Gohan and Trunks Super Saiyans. With the Sun family starting to train a lot with one another, the likes of Goku, Raditz, Chi-Chi, Gohan, and Trunks train together. However, the first year Chi-Chi takes off. After all, she just birthed her second child, Goten, who was born a lot earlier thanks to Chi-Chi feeling like she had to make up for time missed. Her husband. So this is just a way she did it. She was a bit more pushy in having kids, and Goku wasn't against the idea, so he was happy to do this. Now, it's not just the Saiyans I want to cover in this timeline. We have a different Guardian, so we have some more things to change. Normally, we would see Kami not doing much, and just sort of living his life out on the lookout. But here we see Tien training for the upcoming fight, helping train the other humans as well. With him training very intensely, but Tien has one major advantage over everyone else: his eternal youth. He can abuse the ever loving hell out of the hyperbolic time chamber. So Tien spends some time in the hyperbolic time chamber, however, he doesn't use it all the time. He just wants to avoid going insane. But if one of his friends want to go into it sometimes, he will join them, with Krillin, Yamcha, Upa all spending a little bit of time in there training with Tien. They only all do 1 day each, but that's enough for Tien to have spent 3 years in there, and any other extra time he does on his own is a bonus. And as the 4 years begin to pass, things start to happen, and I'm just going to cover them all very fastly. Now, like the likes of both Goku and Raditz master Super Saiyan. Alongside this, Gohan and Trunks learn the Super Saiyan form, but don't master it, only getting up to grade 3, which is a lot better than canon counterparts. The likes of Krillin and Tien teach both Upa and Yamcha how to use the Kaioken, with Krillin and Tien getting a better control over the technique. Tien is now able to push his Kaioken up to a 50 times multiplier, but Krillin can only get it up to about a 30 at the moment. And finally, the likes of Goten is born. Now, in normal fashion for my what ifs, I will be doing power levels in the Android Saga. For those who don't know or are new here, I always do power levels for the Android Saga as I think it's pretty easy to scale where everything is. We know that the androids were a big enough threat that Trunks, who could take down Frieza, couldn't handle them, so they have to be quite a massive upgrade. We also know that the future androids are weaker than the present androids, so all I need to do is just a little bit of odd calculations here and there, and I just need to have numbers to give everyone an idea. This is so I can, one, know how I believe everyone would stand, and two, it's so everyone understands the benefits everyone got from their training. So I hope people don't mind this, and I just thought I'd give a reminder as it's not something I often do. I just normally give the power levels. Now let's get going. In the lead we have Goku with a power level of 1 bill in his base, and that leads to his Super Saiyan form having a 50 bill power level. Raditz has a power level of 900 mil in his base form, and a power level of 45 bill in Super Saiyan. Gohan and Trunks have a power level of 8 mil in their base form, and 40 bill in Super Saiyan. Behind them is Tien, who has a power level of 400 mil in his base, and thanks to his Kaioken, that's a 20 bill in a times 50 Kaioken. Krillin has a power level of 200 mil in base, which is a 6 bill thanks to his Kaioken times 30. Yamcha is at 180 mil, and he can only really use low levels of the Kaioken, so he's not able to get major buffs from this. Max he was ever able to do was a times 5, but that really drained him. He still needs a bit more practice with it. Upa is at a power level very similar to Yamcha and is in a very similar boat with him. Finally is Chi-Chi, who's at a power level of around 100 mil. Thanks to missing a year, she is behind the group quite a bit. Now, after the 4 years have passed, everyone meets sort of like in canon, with things here being pretty normal, with Yajirobe dropping off sensu beans to the group. Something I forgot to bring up in the past parts, the fact that Yajirobe would likely have only trained with the group for a short while, to try and save Goku, so I never thought to bring it up, but he might be a good bit stronger than his canon counterpart, and that's all I really wanted to say. And he then gets shot out of the sky with everyone going around to look for the androids. All of them head off searching for them, with Upa and Yamcha searching for them together. After all, the two have sort of become a dynamic duo at this point, and do a lot of training with one another. Much like normal, Yamcha runs into the androids first. For another repeating moment, he gets Yamcha'd unluckily. Even though he's a lot stronger than he was in canon, the Doctor just outranks him so massively. With Upa seeing this, he gets really angry at seeing his friend get attacked and pretty much be put on death's bed. He rushes at the Doctor, activating his Kaioken to try and get Yamcha off the Doctor's arm. However, Android 19 steps out in front of him, and every attack that Upa throws does nothing. Unfortunately for Upa, he is almost killed by the likes of Android 19, but luckily for the human, everyone else shows up to help. With Dr. Gero seeing Goku, he smiles, with him flinging Yamcha off his arm towards the group. The likes of Krillin catches him and gives him a senzu bean, healing Yamcha up from another near-death experience. With Upa also getting a senzu bean, the pair soon get back up and in fighting shape. Dr. Gero looking towards Goku. It's so good to see you again, Son Goku. I almost gave up hope that you would return, but luckily for me it seems you did. Now I can kill you, and I don't think that little Super Saiyan form of yours is going to save you now. With Goku and Dr. Gero sharing a pretty similar conversation to canon, and as soon as the group move out of the city to the wasteland pretty far away, it's not as nice as the one Piccolo would have taken them to, and things go pretty normal. Now, with Dr. Gero starting off the fight, Android 19 begins to fight Goku, and the Saiyan here has taken his heart medicine. This is because he is a much more serious person in this timeline. He doesn't mess around, and also thanks to Chi-Chi training with him, so this works out pretty well. Now, with the fight happening, Goku's mastered Super Saiyan form is something that Dr. Gero wasn't accounting for. I never give it a bigger multiply, even though some people argue I should, and you know what, at this point I'm starting to consider it myself a little bit, but for now I'm leaving it as normal 50 times multiplier because I don't know anything written for sure. But we do know that Goku's mastered form is a lot easier to use, and Goku, who is healthy right now, is going to be able to beat Android 19 pretty easily. This is thanks to the fact that Dr. Gero has not predicted Goku correctly at all, and it's pretty hard to do so. Android 19 possesses one problem, which is his ki absorption. Goku goes to finish off the android and only powers him up. But this doesn't do much to help him. It closes the gap a little bit, however Goku still has the advantage. And soon the android is easily destroyed. Dr. Gero seeing this, he begins to panic. With him trying to escape, he is soon stopped by the likes of Gohan and Trunks. Both of the boys go Super Saiyan and begin to beat into the Doctor. With Dr. Gero being stronger than the boys individually, when they work together, they are easily able to defeat the android. With the two soon destroying Dr. Gero, and this is where the Android saga ends, guys. I'm sorry, I hope people weren't expecting anything too grandiose, but this is actually the end of this saga. And I'll give you some reasons why, but it's quite easy to look at once you get an idea of it. And I do want to say once again, sorry if it's really boring, but let me explain my logic here. Now, first of all, there was never a loss in this scenario. If Future Trunks didn't come back, the timeline would have been fine. Keep in mind, I already openly explained that the future fighters won in their fight because of the fact that they had connections with, the Galactic Patrol, who could go to Namek and make a wish. They already had a surefire way to win. There was no loss in that scenario. Alongside this, Trunks came back a lot stronger with a mastered Super Saiyan and something he didn't show off but as a Super Saiyan 2. He only ever went to the mastered form. He didn't want to give them too much of a idea of how strong he was. He absolutely could still mop the floor with the likes of Goku. Now, something in Dragon Ball about how to get stronger is when you're training for a certain goal, it helps people in Dragon Ball grow a lot stronger, a lot faster for some reason, when you have a certain target in mind. All of them had the target of trying to catch up with Trunks. And this version of Trunks was miles ahead of his canon counterpart, and this led to everyone just getting a lot stronger in this time. Alongside this, both Goku and Raditz got Super Saiyan years before the likes of Canon Goku did. The pair already had an idea on how to improve Super Saiyan, and they were already working towards it. Alongside this, the group got an extra year to train with. The reason they got an extra year is because Dr. Gero would have believed Goku to have either died in space or was never coming back. So after working on the androids for a few years, he eventually stopped, meaning that he missed a year of working on them. So when Goku came back to Earth, he needed to finish off the extra year. So they gained some extra time during this. So that extra year gave the group enough time to grow stronger than even the Doctor could expect. And finally, Future Cell. You know, the one that in canon became perfect. Well, he doesn't exist here. You see, Future Trunks is from a timeline which managed to defeat the androids in maybe the first 3 months. So they dealt with their androids so fast that they aren't that far off in the future. Maybe 6 years at best. So their cell isn't even complete yet. Their cell is still a little embryo in Dr. Dro's lab. So they are actually pretty fine so far. He will come around eventually, but there are plenty of fighters to stop him. So, like I've said, yeah, I am sorry, but there is no Android Saga here. There is just, I can't see a time where there is. And as much as I would love to do one, I don't think I can do it without really forcing some things. But I do want to say, don't count the androids out just yet, because they were never activated. So they're still in the lab, alongside a very perfect Bugman. Now, let's go on. The world enters a time of peace, where a lot of things happen. So I want to cover them. Now, after the defeat of the androids, everyone heads off to celebrate their victory at Capsule Corp, where they all feel as if they had overprepared for it just a bit. But everyone is happy that nothing bad happened. With life returning to normal, I would normally have a bit of a jump forwards towards the Boo Saga here, but there are some important things I want to cover. Now, a few months after the defeat of the androids, the likes of Goku and Raditz are called off on a mission. With them not having to struggle too much on it, it's pretty much a non-threat to them. But the thing that surprises them is the agent they work with. They went on a mission with a new agent, and this is where they are introduced to him. They meet the likes of Agent Meerus, who has recently joined while they were training for the androids. Meerus has joined the patrol and climbed the ranks quite fast, soon being one of the best agents, and if not for Goku and Raditz, he would be the best that the patrol has to offer. Now, once the Saiyans meet the patroller, they take a liking to him, and they find him very interesting. And the three become friends pretty fast, thanks to the fact that the Saiyans are just very lovable people in this timeline. And the likes of Meerus joins the friend group of Jacko, Goku, and Raditz quite fast. Meerus spends some of his off time on Earth, and he soon gets to know everyone and finds the planet incredible. He also really takes a liking to Goku. After all, the Goku here isn't too far off his normal counterpart. He can be silly and goofy and a caring person most of the time, but he can be serious when the situation calls for it. Now, something to know would be that Goku and Raditz would find Meerus' power very interesting and quite weird all at the same time. They can't sense his energy, but he has such incredible movement. The way he fights is so powerful, but they just don't understand it. And they don't ever dig too much into it, but they always invite him to train, with them wanting to see just what he has to offer. But every time he refuses, which is also confusing to the two, but doesn't bother them too much. But they do spend a lot of time with one another, and Mira soon gets to meet the families of the two Saiyans, and he's slowly integrated into their lives, not as a main person, but he will come and visit them every now and again. Miris is just sort of a friend they know who visits every now and again. Now, they do spend most of their time on Earth, Goku and Raditz, that is. And as 6 years begin to pass, Earth gets pretty comfortable. Everyone gets into their own little routines. Let's start by doing the likes of Goku and Raditz, who during this time have discovered and mastered Super Saiyan 2, with them starting to teach the likes of Gohan, Trunks, and Goten how to use it. Now, the form for the likes of Gohan and Trunks is something they learn pretty fast, with the pair mastering Super Saiyan 1 and also learning how to use and master Super Saiyan 2 with their fathers. And as for Goten, he mastered Super Saiyan 1 and is currently learning how to use Super Saiyan 2. For those who are wondering, Gohan and Trunks here would be 14. Goten's 9. Now, even though she can't keep up much, Chi-Chi has kept up with her training, since it is a way to keep her family close, and she loves spending the time with Goku. After all, she feels kind of responsible for saving him, and she likes that feeling. Now, in this timeline, the Sun family is very close. Now, over with the humans, none of them have stopped training here. They have all been able to help throughout the years, and none of them feel like they are useless and have any reason to stop. They mostly train with Tien, who had begun to train himself a lot harder. He will spend a lot more time in the hyperbolic time chamber over this time, but only in short bursts, maybe a week or two every other day. And this allows Tien to keep up with the Saiyans very well. He's on level with the hybrids at this point, which is incredibly good for him. And unfortunately for the others, they can't abuse the time chamber like Tien can, so they fall behind a lot. However, thanks to the Kaioken, which all of them have got good control over now, they can help do some good training. Now, a character who I want to talk about here, which is the likes of Kami, who in this timeline is no longer struck and held as the Guardian. He begins to explore the world he loves, and he begins to help and teach people in many different ways. He becomes sort of a wandering traveller. Most people know of him as the one guy who will show up, help you in a time of need, and then disappear from your life. Kami loves the fact that he can interact with Earth and help people in a much more physical way, and Tien is happy to be the guardian of Earth. This was a good trade. Tien was the perfect guardian. After all, he takes every day of his job very seriously. But time of peace can't last forever. This is Dragon Ball. That would be boring. After 6 years have passed, on the lookout, Tien spends some of his time training alone when suddenly two people show up. Two people he has never seen before appear on the lookout and ask for his help. But that's where I'm leaving this part. I know I haven't covered a lot, and this was a really short part, really thinking about it. But I'm really sorry, I can't see the Android Saga going anywhere. But I do plan on doing some things with it, so I hope people look forward to that. Uh, things I want to talk about. Things I want to talk about. Meerus. Meerus is something I want to talk about. Don't expect Meerus to be someone who shows up and helps out a lot. Meerus is more going to be there just as a little bit of a hint to some stuff, and he's probably going to help out every now and again, but never too much. Like I said, he's slowly integrated himself into the Earth family, and he will at some point be much more known amongst them all. But right now, he is known by the Briefs family and the Sun family, which is enough to make him be in a certain place at a certain time in a later arc. So yeah, I'm looking forward to messing with that. That would be funny. Alongside this, I want to bring up the fact that there is a future timeline which is successful, and I want to talk to people about this. I would love to cover a future timeline where, in for this what if, where they won, which they did. So if people would like to see what if Raditz came to Earth, the future version, um, I will happily do so. After all, there is a potential to tell a very different story. With Goku gone, it means that there is something there I can play with. Everyone else is still alive. So please let me know if you would like to see that, because I would be really interested to tell that story. It might only be told after I have completed this what if in its whole. But please let me know. As I said, I like to know things like this. And yeah, I don't really know what else I want to say. Yet again, I'm so sorry this part is not as interesting as it could have been, but I honestly just don't see this being a timeline where the androids can do anything. But with that said, I hope everyone has a great day and a good night, and I really loved doing this part. Hope you all have a great day and a good night, and I hope you enjoyed my April Fool's What If. I'm really stupid and I apologise for that. Have a good day, guys.